and it does me good when the Magpies feel like I know they should. So how here, lads, we are smiling faces. Newcastle are going places. We've been down for many seasons. Cheer up, lads, we've got good reason. Come on, Kev, it's up to you. The wave goodbye, Division 2. I'm a Geordie, I'm a Geordie. Pull up, pull up. I'm a Geordie, I'm a Geordie. Pull up, pull up. I'm a Magpie, I'm a Magpie. Pull up, pull up. Hey, Geordie, I'm a Geordie. Pull up, pull up. So look out, huddle, we've got Waddle. He takes spares on, it's one big battle. And new boy Peter runs like a star. Beardsley's gonna be your world beater. And Terry Mack, welcome back. We still love old Super Mac, but Keegan is king, gonna do his thing, gonna take us up, gonna make us sing.
You are listening to NUFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army. Live daily on the website, on YouTube, and on every online radio directory. NUFC Talk, the voice of the Toon Army.
Hello everyone, welcome to NUFC Talk. We are live with the latest trending news. Of course, we're going to have the Eddie Howe presser later on. So, hey, welcome. Welcome one and all. We are live. Don't forget to smash the like button. It is 2:43 in the morning in the US of A. It is 8:43 a.m. in the UK, ladies and gentlemen. The lads will be on, of course, to do the build-up for the presser in just a few minutes, about 17 minutes or so, if not 20 minutes maybe. Either way, Gary, I think, win. And also, Sam Zayden from The Breakfast Show will be joining us via, coming from Australia, via link. So there you go. And shout out to everyone out there. And let me know what the weather, I want to know the weather right now in Newcastle. -1 degrees. And the tune, it is Baltic, ladies and gents. In my opinion, at least. -1. Listen, when it's -1, you just gotta stay inside, man. Don't even look outside. Your eyes might get frosty, so don't even look outside. It is Friday, though. Friday neat. Well, not Friday neat yet. Friday morning. We're just getting started in the tune. But later on, Friday neat, and we'll get into the tune. So stay tuned, maybe, hopefully. We'll have a music show. There is a confidential that we can get by and get some headlines, of course, off of that. And there's a few things that Craig Hope has come out and said. Let's get into the headlines of it all, shall we? Newcastle confidential from Craig Hope coming to all of us. It is pay, you got to pay for it, but here we bring it on to you for free. No really charge of you to you at all. The truth about Elliot Anderson's return. Johan Wissa injury update. It seems like we might have to wait for him to a little bit longer for him to come back, maybe towards December. So we might more than likely not see him this weekend. That's something that might be a blow to the ones that believe he is the missing piece. He is the missing link to Newcastle United for them to turn things around. The Wonder Kids tune are scouting across the globe. We might touch on that. Latest on the new stadium and Anthony Gordon's fitness boost for Man City clash. Let's talk about all this, shall we? Let's give you this a quick rundown. Don't forget to smash the like button. Let us know what you think in the comment section down below. A lot of people in the chat already. It is freezing in the tune, ladies and gents. So don't forget, smash the like button right now and help us reach as many people as we possibly can. Again, Eddie Howe coming up at 30 minutes or so. We'll hear from Newcastle's manager as Newcastle set to come make a comeback against the powerful Man City at St. James's Park. So Newcastle returned to the Premier League action on Saturday in need of a positive performance and result, to be fair, after a sticky close to the last round of matches. And but after the away defeat against West Ham and Brentford and all of that, it does not get any easier with the visit of Man City. It is going to be tough to get a result against the Citizens. But at the end of the day, I think we've ran out of excuses. I don't think we can keep saying, well, we play good, but it is Man City. We cannot have that excuse anymore, in my opinion. We have to at least get a point so we can add something to the equation. And, of course, win away at Everton the following week. So that's my opinion anyway. There is plenty going on off the pitch, of course, ahead of the January transfer window with a new executive team of David Hopkinson and Russ Wilson in place. At the chief football operator reporter Craig Hope answers your questions as part of a Newcastle Confidential Q&A special. One of the first questions asked was, what are the chances of Newcastle re-signing Elliot Anderson? And he's answering like this. This might not be what Newcastle fans want to hear, but his information, Craig Hope's information, is that the chances are fairly low. Would there be a desire from Eddie Howe and Wilson to explore the possibility? Yes, absolutely. Howe never wanted to sell Anderson, and Wilson was a part of the transfer team at Forest, who bought the midfielder in the summer of 24 for what was, in effect, just a simple £15 million fee for Forest. And if you really think about it, maybe there was no fee at all. Maybe it was just a swap for Vlachodimos because of the PSR situation. So put that into perspective. Put that in your head right now. Kenny says Anderson never in the live chat on YouTube. So if you're listening and you're not watching on YouTube, come on and subscribe to the YouTube channel NUFC Talk TV right now on there. But regardless, if you think about it, we swapped Vlachodimos for Anderson, and they also they didn't get Yankuba Minte on that part, but regardless, we swapped basically one of the best prospects in the midfield for Vlachodimos, who didn't get many games on Newcastle, and right now he's at Sevilla. So there you go. It doesn't seem like somebody got a short end of the deal on that one, and I'm convinced it was us at this point in time. So there you go. Chances of re-signing Anderson are pretty knackered, to be honest. It would take a fee of around 6 times the fee that Newcastle received, around really 15. And again, just to clarify, more or less, we didn't get any fee. We just swapped players. So we would have to pay around £100 million, give or take. And that is pretty knackering, to say the least, if you think about it. I don't think many Toon fans would be keen to spend that kind of money on Anderson, although he's a Geordie. We like him, and we want him to succeed. I don't think that, I just don't see it, unfortunately. That is one of the main key reasons of why Craig Hope doesn't think this move will happen. Newcastle's transfer record was £69 million. As a club playing balance sheet catch-up in PSR world, in a PSR world, transfer close to 100 million are not where they are right now. They wouldn't pay 100 million, basically. Secondly, while Anderson's heart would bring him back to Newcastle in a beat, there is a feeling he will have his pick of clubs at home and abroad come next summer. His instinct, Craig Hope's instinct, is that one of, if not both, the Manchester clubs will make a serious play for him. So we'll have to see if that comes on. And I mean, I don't know if he will go to Man United, to be honest, but maybe so. Man City will certainly have, I think, very much maybe of his interest, to say the least. But don't be surprised if there's interest from Spain either. The 23-year-old, and knowing his next club will be one where he spends the peak of his years in his career. An England starter should be challenging the league and European titles. In that respect, Newcastle United's journey might take a little bit longer, according to this report, and that is not a criticism in Hope's opinion. It's reality. Hope was on TalkSport before the England game in Albania on Sunday, and host Adrian Durham referred to Anderson as my favorite player. He said he's clearly read and listened to what I've said about him, and that is why I would love to see him back playing for the club I cover, said Craig Hope, I believe. Sadly, despite there being a chance, I would expect his destination post-Forest to be elsewhere, said Craig Hope. So, I mean, I think we can all agree on that, to be fair. But some Geordies might hold on to the thought of keeping him or trying to bring him back. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that might be a possibility for the one and only Anderson. I mean, he might come back in later years of his career. More than likely, that's what's going to happen anyway. it seems like he is a devout Geordie, meaning as a Newcastle fan, of course, and that might happen. It doesn't have the same similarities of Agasa, for example, who left Newcastle and never looked back, and other than having family ties, of course, being a Geordie. I don't even think he's mentioned the word Newcastle, in any interviews that I've seen. So I don't think that's Anderson. I think Anderson has some level of loyalty, and he loves Newcastle. He went to the final. He's been a fan, but at the end of the day, he's going to go where the money's at, and going to go where he can compete for titles. And as Craig Hope said, unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be Newcastle United's cup of tea right now. We are more in fighting for European qualifications than anything else. So that should be the standard. Although this season, it seems like we've forgotten that. Moving on to Johan Wissa, and this might be something, lads and lasses, that might not get your morning started the way it should be, because there is an update as far as he is concerned and when his return would be. There were rumors that he will be back at Brentford, and then again, that was extended another week. We didn't think he was going to be back at Brentford. Now we think he's going to be back for Man City. Well, Craig Hope is debunking all theories on that, according to his information. He's saying that it won't be against Man City this weekend. And as I reported, he said in our last confidential column, early December was my information. If so, that rules him out of at least the next 3 matches for the Magpies. That includes Man City on Saturday, Marseille over in the middle of the week, and on Tuesday, and Everton away at their new stadium next weekend. So those 3, but more or less 2 very important games in the Premier League he will be missing. Whether he'll come back at 100% the following week, I'm not 100% sure if that would happen. Good morning to everyone in the chat on YouTube and all of you listening in every online radio directory. This is NUFC Talk. Chris, the American Mag, here, giving you an update right before the press conference of Eddie Howe ahead of the match against Man City. The lads will be coming on, of course, to have their say shortly. When will Wissa be fit? The latest I'm told is that he is, in quote, very, very close, but then that is on the back of an 11-week absence. 11-week absence. Such language is open to interpretation, to be fair. The important thing for Wissa in Newcastle is that he is working towards a comeback, and there has been no setbacks with regards his knee over the international break. So he's making progress. He's just not ready. Kenny W in the chat says wasted $55 million on a player PIF didn't want. Well, that's an interesting take, to say the least. Darren Lee, Wissa was a panic buy. Will it come good? We don't know. He's cursed by the footballing gods, says Darren Lee. And to be honest, would you, if you believe in that stuff, in the footballing gods, well, you do have something to back you on, because Isak has been dross as well, going to Liverpool for 130-something million pounds. And Wissa had the same attitude towards Brentford, to want to leave Newcastle United. He's came here and has not played whatsoever. So if you believe in the football gods, well, you have something else. You have something there to back that opinion, if you believe in that stuff. But here we go. So the club want him to be ready to make an impact when he does return, rather than be introduced for a few minutes here and there over a period of weeks and be susceptible to further injury. Craig Hope's feeling on this for a while now has been that Wissa will not be seen until December. Well, to be honest, he's counting them out this whole week, and therefore, yeah, he would be back in December. I have read somewhere, I'm not even going to entertain it, because as a Newcastle fan, I don't even want to give it time and air, but I've read that it might be even around the middle of December when Wissa would be coming back. But the fact of the matter is, it's not that it would be that or the middle of December. The fact is that it keeps getting extended every time we give an update on Johan Wissa. What is the issue if the knee is okay? Is it fitness? Is it getting the match ready? What is the situation? We don't know. But it seems like the deadline keeps extending with Johan Wissa. Will Wissa go to AFCON is another question. Craig Hope says, I'd be surprised if he did. What was good news for Newcastle this week was DR Congo was setting up a World Cup playoff in March. Newcastle and Wissa can argue with some justification that him staying and playing on Tyneside would probably leave him in a better shape for the playoff, which will be against either Jamaica or New Caledonia, and give the DR Congo a chance to qualify for their first World Cup since 1974. So we shall see what happens when it comes to that. Their releases, we can only hope Wissa can score goals to play back his price tag paid. There you go. What did you say, Mighty Win? That was shambolic. But what do you say, Mighty Win, though? There you go. Is Eddie Howe under pressure with the team 14th in the table? Another question presented to Craig Hope. His question, more or less, is going to be an opinion, maybe information from inside sources about what the directors are thinking of him. Let's take a look. No, and nor should he be, says Craig Hope. Howe has found a way out of the current away day malice that threatens to undermine the season. But there is also an understanding that the summer was far from ideal preparation on and off the pitch, and maybe we're seeing the hangover of that now. Even so, Howe won't want that offered as an excuse, and it's on him and his players to respond to those back-to-back league defeats at West Ham and Brentford this weekend. So according to Craig Hope and his information, and opinion, of course, as well, is that he is under no pressure at Newcastle United. So there you go for some people that want that to happen, want that to be there, or just want to know what the information going around is that no, he's not under pressure at all. I wonder if that's a good thing or a bad thing, to be fair. But Fluff Meister says Howe has been overperforming for the last 2 seasons. So there you go. I guess he thinks like Mighty Win that we should be a mid-table team. That's kind of odd to say. You can tell Tonali that if that you can tell Tonali Bruno. Well, Bruno seems to be comfortable at Newcastle anyway. Whatever Newcastle do, he seems like he's comfortable at. But tell Tonali, tell Botman, tell Demata that he's came in. Tell those players, or Gordon even, although he's been playing draws. Tell them that that's where we should be, and see what they think. They'll be on a plane next week as we speak. So I don't think those players come to Newcastle to be a mid-table team. So I don't think we'll be attracting many more players either if that's where we should be at, or that should be the standard or the expectation. But everybody's got their opinion, of course. So we appreciate all opinions here on NUFC Talk. We bring you uncensored opinion from fans. They have their say. They can speak from their spleen if they wish to, with no repercussions whatsoever. What do you expect Howe to do then with when Dan Burn is back from suspension? Was another question to Craig Hope. If Lewis Hall is ready to start by then, which he should be, then Howe has 2 options: go 3 center halves to accommodate Burn and Sven Botman alongside Malik Chiao, or make a decision on which Burn or Botman starts with Chiao. I don't think we'll see Burn at left back, says Craig Hope. In his defense, even though his last 2 Premier League performances weren't great, he performed very well at left back before that, and his form from center back at the start of the season was probably the best of his career. So I feel for Burn, and ideally for him, he returns to center back in a back 4, the role which has suited him best. In my opinion, it's not about the role that suits him best. It's the role that suits him, period. Burn is a center back. Left back doesn't suit him. I disagree with Craig Hope saying that he's been playing great left back. He hasn't. We can argue till the cows come home that Trippier, for example, gets skinned all the time, that that nobody criticizes him or whatever, but he is a right back nonetheless. That's his position since he started playing. He is a right back, a natural right back. So you can criticize him all you want to, but when it comes to Dan Burn, that's not his position. Never has it been. There's never been. He's played there due to necessity, but that's not really his thing, his mojo. So there you go. As far as stadium update is concerned, ladies and gents, is the stadium announcement a permanent hold? On permanent hold. Well, Craig Hope says that, the planned announcement date in early 25 has come and gone, and there won't be in late 25 either. Hope's understanding earlier this year, following the high-level summit, including Yasser Al-Rumayyan and at Matt Van Hole, was that all roads led to building a new stadium on Lee's Park with a video presentation of how it would look shown to club staff and stakeholders. But PIF have yet to sanction that move in such as it means a formal decision has yet to be made. There is, he's told Craig Hope, a lot of work going on in the background, but to answer the question, there has been no fresh indication of when an announcement will be. He expects word on a new training ground to come before then, and that will likely be in 2026 for the training ground to be announced, according to him. And of course, the stadium will be much later. So, as we spoke yesterday on the Undisputed with Win, we don't see that happening maybe until late 26 or even early 27. But definitely, that's as far as an announcement. But construction and moving things around, that won't even be in question until more or less even in 2028, to be fair, after the Euros comes about. We got Mighty Win in the building now. Good morning. How's it going?
Good morning. What's happened to you this morning?
I'm up and about, man. I'm up and about.
I'm up and early.
Early bird.
Time's it there now? 4 o'clock or something?
3:30. 3 in the morning.
3:33.
No, 3:03. 3:03. So early bird gets the worm. The early bird gets the worm. That's what I was taught since I was a bairn. So there you go.
Well, good morning to you.
Yeah. Giving folks an update on what's going on the tune as far as the confidential of Craig Hope, of course. By the way, if you wanted to know a traffic report, not a traffic report really, but the Metro report service has now resumed to all destinations, subject to delays of up to 30 minutes in some areas. Metro tickets and passes are being accepted on all arrivals or Arriva. What is it?
Arriva buses.
Oh, Arriva buses. There you go. Go Northeast and Stagecoach bus services across the system. So no delays whatsoever. So Jordy, then, what you got to say about that in the chat? No delays whatsoever. So the Metro is working proper this morning. I mean, it's only 9:04 in the morning, so I mean, it's plenty of time for something to happen. But be careful out there with
slap bang in the middle of rush hour now, man.
Yeah, and be careful with slippery conditions out there in the tune. It is -1, to be fair, -2 I read as well on another one. So it is pretty chilly out there, so make sure you got a jacket on. Somebody said it's so cold, it's so Baltic that I almost put my jacket on. So there you go.
Almost.
There you go. So as far as there's been a lot of talk of Newcastle being active in Netherlands and Belgium with regards of recruitment. Anything in that, somebody asks. Well, we got Sam Zayden as well in the building. Sam, do you hear us?
Yeah, I do hear you, mate. How you going?
Morning,
Yeah,
Sam.
man. All the way from Australia as well. So we are getting ready now. We are starting to pack up the players to take care of the Eddie Howe press conference, what should be coming up in the next 20 minutes or so, if I'm not, well, maybe 30. So stay tuned for this. But has there been a lot of movement as far as recruitment in the Netherlands and Belgium? Craig Hope says, yes, I can confirm that Newcastle have watched Howe Ordóñez from Club Bruges. I think you guys mentioned that in the breakfast show on Thursday. The Ecuador center back, 21 years of age, is liked by a host of Premier League clubs. It is thought his next move will be those shores. However, as it stands with Newcastle, there is nothing active on that front beyond scouts taking a close look. And it's per, the whole transfer window, all we did was look at players and not even do anything else. So we are just player watchers. We window shop, no more than that, it seems like. But there is more of a live interest in the AZ Alkmaar midfielder Kees Smit, as the Daily Mail Sport reported last week. And while there is competition for the 19-year-old from home and abroad, he gets the feeling, hope that there is hope that a package, financial and development, could be presented that would appeal to Smit. It's a thought AZ want between 20 to 25 million for the Netherlands under 21 stars. So there you go. It seems like that's what's going on. Any thoughts on that, lads? On the Smith kid? It seems like everybody wants him. So I mean, I guess the fact that we don't know him doesn't mean anything. We told the club to go out there and simply
everybody's been bleating for to get cheap stuff from the continent. So let's see what happens.
But at least recruit young talent. Mm-hmm. So we're not gonna know everything about them, to be fair. But my bread and butter is South America. What about South America? Somebody asked. I've noted a lot of talk around Ryan Vitor, a 19-year-old Brazilian who plays for Vasco da Gama. However, this has been driven by agents attempted to get Ryan a move to the Premier League. Newcastle are aware of him and have been contacted by several agents, but that's as far as it's going at present. I'll never understand this. And Newcastle seems to turn their nose up on players from South America. Although this guy, if we don't move fast, will probably get snatched up by Man City or Chelsea, and we'll be once again in the conversations of why we didn't go in. Look at Chelsea right now with the kid that they got. What's this Brazilian kid on the right side? It's not Eusebio, but it's something like that. Something along those. It sounds like that anyway. He's lighting it up. I think youngest Brazilian player to do I don't know what. So we got Zam connectivity issues with Zam there. His internet, it seems, knackered. So might need to refresh, buddy. Any thoughts on that as far as the South American kid that seems like it's been
it's not just the one South American kid, is it? It's Ross Wilson has been has been speaking about generally increasing our South American scouting presence, and that can only be a good thing, I think, because almost exclusively, until Brighton appeared on the scene with Mr. Bloom, almost exclusively South American talent, young talent, went to Spain, didn't it? Spain, Portugal, for obvious reasons, obviously the language and things. And obviously there'll be family connections between the countries. So, and then by and large, any Argentinian talent we've bought from the continent. The two notable exceptions, of course, being our dealers and senior moment. Who was the centre forward? 78 World Cup. Went to Tottenham with our dealers. Help me out, chat. Boom, boom, boom. Anyway, we bought obviously them when they were, but they weren't young talent, of course. They were World Cup winners. Scored in the cup final, man. What on earth did they call him? Villa, that's it, Ricky Villa. Don't get old, folks, don't get old. I think, there we go. I think you're having internet problems as well, so. Oh, Sam's in and out, shake it all about. There we go. Yeah, we can hear you, but you're in and out. Try again. Refresh one more time. And it looks as though Chris is having the same problems.
Let's see.
Anyway, we are awaiting Eddie. He'll be here in 20 minutes. And what's he going to tell us about Man City that we don't know? Well, inevitably the first questions you'll be asked are about the injuries. And it's going to be interesting to see who exactly is available, is it not? We know Dan's not available because of suspension, obviously, but so Lewis Hall, you would think, has got to start, unless he tells us something about him having
So you're right. You're right about that. We'll see about that, but Denver's not going to play anyway. But we got to continue with this confidential though, because the Q&A confidential, because we got to finish it. We won't have time to come back to it. Will Anthony Gordon be the England started at left wing under Thomas Tuchel? He is a three-way battle with Marcus Rashford and Eberechi Eze. So I don't think he will be. I think Rashford is, playing in Barcelona, doing his thing. It's pretty impossible. And I think Eze at Arsenal, top of the league, and he's also very important over there. In Gordon playing knackered. But to be fair, he's been playing ahead of those two. So maybe Tuchel will do what he wants. Against all odds. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to your comments, will Gordon be fit this weekend? That's a major question for the Man City game. Howe says 50-50, but Hope's information earlier this international break was that Gordon should be fit for the game. If so, that's a huge boost for Newcastle, because this is the type of fixture against top opposition when Gordon produces his best. I'm not sure that was a compliment, to be honest. And the challenge for him and the team is to find that level of form every week in the Premier League. He says, I know some question my support of Gordon in recent weeks, and I understand why. But I do believe Newcastle have the best chance of being the team they want to be with him in it. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mighty Wayne, I don't think that was a compliment, mate. I think, this is the type of games he likes to turn up for. Well, what about the other ones? We need points on those too.
Well, as Dan Burns said, that's where you earn your money, in the other ones. But, and he's pretty much laying his stall out, though, isn't he? He's saying, if we want to be the team we can be, I believe it'll be more achievable with Gordon. Or we go and rinse and repeat, same again, and even though it hasn't been working, it's going to be interesting, isn't it?
It is going to be interesting indeed, ladies and gents. Don't forget to smash the like button. You are listening to NUFC Talk with the Mighty Win and the American Mag, the press conference for the Man City game. Eddie Howe should be coming up in 15 minutes or so. Don't forget to smash the like button.
You are listening to NUFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army. Live daily on the website, on YouTube, and on every online radio directory. NUFC Talk, the voice of the Toon Army.
All right, ladies and gents, it is 9:15 in the morning in the UK, ladies and gentlemen. What do we got going on in the tune right now? Not much. It's Friday night. I'm not Friday night, my goodness. I'm used to saying that. It's Friday morning, man. We're just getting started. It's Friday morning, just getting started. People got into work. What happened to, I wonder what, the vape lounge, my man Jamie, he's out there, he's opening shop probably at this point. Well, I don't even know if vape shops open up this early. He's probably knackered. Although he called up early in the morning as well. So maybe he is still, he's opened up shop, all the shop. What time business is open, restaurants and, coffee shops and, all that stuff. What time are they getting?
Vape shops are 9 to 5, basically.
Yeah, but I'm talking about coffee shops.
9 till 5.
Because I know on that strip that we were on Whitley Bay. Do you remember when we were there? When you took me to the worst fish and chips in history, on that strip. And by the way, and also the worst coffee and cookies or whatever they call it that we had morning. It was the worst ever, man. They drink coffee without sugar, man. That's the worst thing you could ever do. So that was dross as well. But on that strip, there was a lot of places where you can eat and all that stuff. It seemed like anyway. And what time? There you go. Sam Sayden is in the building. Sam,
how you going, guys? You good?
Good eye.
Yeah, man. You got your stuff sorted. It looks good, definitely. Man. So, we're just waiting on Eddie Howe at the moment. Whitley Bay, been in decline for 20 years, says Kenny W. There you go. And when you should have told me that, man.
I told you what, Whitley Bay's been in decline. It's actually on the up again now. It's starting to catch Tynemouth up.
Nah,
in terms
man.
of the thing. But
there you go. We got you sorted. Bogey says Porky wants to hear from Jamie again. There you go. Bogey says Porky wants to. There you go, man. But we don't have the phone number. I mean, we don't have the. I mean, I guess you can call. If you want to have your say, you can call right now. I guess quickly and in a hurry. We got 15 minutes. You can call in and have your say right now. Number is 0191 916 8864. It's all set up. You can always call, of course, when we're live. Make sure we're live. And yeah, you can have your say, ladies and gents. And we're going to set that up, of course. It's all set up and ready. It should work 100% of the time. And it's set up and ready for everybody to use this feature. You can call in the breakfast show. You'll be able to call in on the early night show, on the late night show, on the Undisputed show. Basically, we want to get to it where every show you can call in and have your say. You'll definitely be able to do that on the instant match reaction after the game. And we're probably going to try to do that. See if you want to call in at halftime of every match. So have your say at halftime. And so the game again, you call in right now 0191 916 8864. Call.
And in answer to your question, the Vapors Lounge is open now.
You looked it up on Google. There you go. Phone in now. Sam, did you hear that call? Remember that call the other day?
To be honest with you, I didn't. No, I must have missed it.
Oh, you gotta miss it. Look at it in the channel, man. There's a video on it. Somebody called in and went at me for.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. Went in on me because of Mighty Win. He's a Mighty Win. He's another
Fanatic,
Mighty Win. Happy Ultra. Yeah, exactly. So he had enough. But Vapors Lounge in Whitley Bay, right? Or Timeout? No, Whitley Bay. Whitley Bay. There you go. So there you go. Go in the Vapors Lounge. Get you a vape. Stop smoking, man. Don't smoke. Get away from cigarettes.
Mate, look, I don't trust the vapes. I don't know what the hell's in them. So, mate, I'll let you know this is tobacco. So, mate, there we go.
You go old school. Old school always works, huh? Anyway, good morning. Good morning, Gary. How's it going?
Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. The traffic is crazy out there this morning with roadworks and everything else. But yeah, good, very good. It was interesting to listen to Jamie's spiel, if I'm honest with you. And the last time I was in, believe it or not, me and the missus visited the Vape Lounge.
Really?
Yeah, we did. I didn't realise it was Jamie's, but we went into the Vape Lounge because my little vape, which I carry with me all the time, for some unknown reason, it stopped working. And I went in there to see if he'd got a replacement. My Element had gone, so I bought some Elements off them. Yeah. So,
we know that. Your Element's been gone for a while.
Yeah. What did the one Element say to the other one? Where have you been all my life? Yeah, exactly.
Oh, nice though, but that's good though. That's cool.
I didn't realise.
That's pretty good.
No, like I say, I lived in Whitley Bay for umpteen years. Obviously, being born in Monk Seaton, it's strange. I mean, I've just seen on the chat there where I've just come on. Whitley Bay is nothing like it used to be. It used to be the heartbeat of the Northeast at one point for, the holidays. But last time I went up there, it just seems totally on the decline now. And they're completely crippling the roads, the road network around Whitley Bay now, with the one-way systems along the seafront. No chance. Wasn't like the good old days when the Whitley Warriors, the Whitley Cruisers was out there on the rocket pad. Them were the days.
Yeah. By the way, yeah, if you want to phone in now, phone in and have your say. What would you ask Eddie Howe tonight ahead of a very, very, very important game against Man City? What would you ask him? What would be the question?
Are you playing the same formation?
Well, that's a fair enough question, to be fair. That's a fair question. That is a fair question. Whether he's going to... I have no clue. I mean, I do tend to believe that he'll keep almost the same players. He has to change Burn and I think he'll play Gordon. I think he'll play Baltimore, of course, no doubt about it. I think either Ilanga or Murphy. I mean, that's kind of probably Murphy, which could be a good thing. And Other than that, I think it's going to be the same. Joe Linton, I think Joe Linton will play. Listen, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but based on what Eddie does, it's just kind of, that's the motto. Same old,
he always
same
goes
old.
with the same squad. Yep.
Or the same, players. They gives them a lot of time, to say the least. Gives them a lot of time. So yeah, or I don't know. Sometimes I believe the players would need a wake up call.
Look,
but they say they've been training hard. Yeah, go on.
Like I'm saying, I get it though. I get why he'll keep choosing them, because at the end of the day, the best way to get out of form is to play yourself back into form. So it does sort of make sense, but the problem is whenever the whole starting 11 isn't performing, I mean, you can't really change the whole starting 11.
Well, true. But you can trust certain players. Because they got one-off games like Tonali the other day, and Walter, you need to feed him. Chiao has been excellent, so you don't have to worry about those players. But there are some that don't give you anything, like Joe Linton. When he's off, he's completely off.
That's right.
Other than a red card waiting to happen. So, but
it's like a time bomb.
That's my major criticism of Eddie, as you know, is, and you've just made a good point there that I hadn't quite thought of. You're saying J7, for example, when he's off, he's off. And you can see that, you can generally see that from minute one. So if after 20 minutes, half an hour, you can see that he's off, you pretty much know he's not going to get any better that day.
That's true.
Get him off, don't wait 70 minutes to make the changes. You should be able to tell, watching the game for half an hour, we can all do it. Or at least we think we can.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You can tell after half an hour how things are going, basically.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few of them this season, haven't there? Like that, Dan Burn against Brentford. Like you could see the red card happening. You could see it from a mile away. I think every single person in the world saw it happening, except for Eddie Howe. I mean, he should have made that change as soon as that penalty got disallowed. But I mean, just learn from your mistakes. That's what we're asking. Just learn from your mistakes.
And that's the worry, that he doesn't appear to be.
Yeah, at the moment, no.
But I think you've got to start looking at, horses for courses, isn't it? You wouldn't, if you were a owner of a horse that you knew was great on the flat, you wouldn't enter it into a race where he's jumping hurdles. And I think that is the problem now with Eddie Howe. He's got players that predominantly look good in certain matches where you need them to work their style of play in certain matches. Like we know, J7's a great spoiler of that midfield, if you like. If you've got a ball playing midfielder that you want to hound and get into and really shake them up, then great. Throw J7 on to spoil the game. For me, the problem is like I say, the midfield for the last couple of games seems to have gone a little bit awry, because you've got a spoiler who's predominantly on that left-hand side. For whatever reason, protection of the left back to support the left midfielder, because we're just not getting any elements out there. But you are losing a player constantly out of that middle pack. So what that does then is stop the main two players from moving into the predominant areas to support the attackers. Hence, Voltemada, bless him, has been so isolated, it's untrue. So for me, I would not use J7 unless I wanted to spoil the opposition main player in the middle of the park. J7 is good. He's good in elements, but like you said, he's not good for every game.
Yeah, it's proven now. The thing is, certain players did fulfill a purpose when we needed it. Like even Longstaff to a certain degree. I think even Byrne playing left back, more or less. Although I believe that it was more, 3 center backs at the time when we finished Champions League the first time. But it's not. You evolve. You got to evolve as a team because you get found out. Then you quickly, and so it seems like we try to play the same way. You have to try to change it up if something is not working. At the end of the day, though, you would assume that Eddie Howe will put loyalty aside and do what he needs to do. Because at the end of the day, he's going to be sacked. And trust me, those players are going to continue to be Newcastle players because you can't sack all 22. So, and they'll move on for the next coach, and so you would think that Eddie Howe would say, listen, if I'm not getting results, I don't care who cares for me, who loves me because I put them on the pitch or whatnot. I'm gonna get the sack, and everybody under me. So he's going to have to be.
His job is definitely riding on it.
Yeah, although Craig Hope says on his confidential that as far as opinion and also information that he is under no pressure at Newcastle, and nor should he be. So he's on the mighty win platinum. You're not a happy clapper in chief on your tag, man. That's historic. Maybe you're not on the bandwagon side anymore. Maybe you're changing your mind.
What are you talking about? I am.
You don't say that. It doesn't say that anymore under your name. You don't have that under your name anymore, man. So it only says.
I've got it. What I'm looking at.
The mighty Eddie win.
All I see is the mighty win platinum. You have divorced. You have divorced yourself from that tag. Maybe the signs of a storm brewing, ladies and gentlemen.
Look, I don't think as well that anyone's job is safe. I don't even think the players' jobs are safe, to be honest with you. It's just, they always tend to go for the manager because it's the easiest one to sack compared to the players. Because, like you said, you can't get rid of 22 players. So it's, but I think Eddie just needs to be a bit ruthless, to be honest. I think that's what he's missing.
Yeah.
Well, the undisputed is coming up between me and Hutch. Where do you draw the line?
But he's not an ultra happy clapper.
Yeah. Hutch is end of season regardless. A bit like yourself. And I'm saying no. You don't. If things haven't improved by the January window, sorry. I'll be jumping to the dark side, but I'm a long way from there yet. There's 8 games to go, plus the cup games, and a lot of things can change, as they have done regularly in the past.
Yeah.
Win, would you be happy with 2 cups and a relegation?
Not a relegation. No.
At this moment of time, it looks like we're more likely to get relegated than do anything else.
But you give me an FA Cup in 11th place, I will bite your hand off.
No, that's a downside. We're not just here to win a cup and not make Champions League again. Our aim is to make Champions League. That's bigger than any cup right now.
Or Europe.
We need to make
Europe.
Yes. We need to make Champions League.
So if that's the case, then, and everybody is saying we should be concentrating, giving all our attention to the Premier League games and not the Champions League.
Yes.
What's the point of getting in the Champions League if you're not going to have a
It's not about that.
There?
We need to build. We need to keep building a squad that could compete in both. Because at the moment, it doesn't look like we can do either.
Well, I don't think that the Champions League.
We're sitting sixth in the Champions League.
Yeah, but mate, we're sitting 6th right now. But mate, for all we know, we could lose our next 3 games and get knocked out. And
for all we know, we could win them.
I don't think we're winning the Champions League. Like, let's be a bit realistic. The mighty win is absolutely flying, mate. Let's keep our feet on the ground a bit. But our aim is to make the Champions League again, because that way we're getting more income, we're getting more revenue. That way we can sign.
Eddie Howe, ladies and gents. Eddie Howe. Let me know if the sound is good.
Haven't had time this morning. How are we doing? 5. How many? 5. Yeah. We were 172 all that. Can we just watch that instead?
I was tempted to give this a
Thanks, Luke.
Morning, Lee.
Morning, Luke. Hello, everyone. Thanks for braving the ice rink outside. We're going to start with Keith today. No razor.
Hi, nice to see you. Just looking at your injury situation ahead of Man City tomorrow. Firstly, how's Anthony Gordon?
Ant is very close. He's worked well during the break. It'd be touch and go for the game. We'll make a very late decision on him.
And I know Sandro Tonali had to step away from international duty as well. He was pictured training the other day. Is he okay?
Yeah, Sandro's fine.
Right, that's good news for you. And Nick had the issue with the protocol, didn't he? Is he fine and okay as well?
Yeah, Nick's trained. Yeah, no problems with that.
Okay. Any other issues to deal with?
Not that I can think of, Keith.
How much are you looking forward to getting back and playing after what I guess has been a long couple of weeks for you?
Yeah, very keen to get back to football. It's strange. We've been this season in a period where we've played loads of games in a really short period of time. And then, of course, you have the international breaks, which are probably welcome for us this season. But now we go to a period without that break, and yeah, that's going to be our busiest spell of the season. Relentless for us over the Christmas period, and that's where we need all of the players that are currently working their way back to fitness, ideally back, so we had a full healthy squad to share the burden in the coming weeks.
It's the sort of game, Man City at home, that you know that your players will be up for, the fans will be up for. It's probably actually a good fixture for you to come back to, isn't it?
Well, we'll wait and see. I think that it's a really tough fixture. We know Manchester City's qualities, but I get your point. I think we want a raucous St James's Park with the home support this season has been incredible. I think we've played well at home as well, so we're looking forward to the match. We have a lot to prove to ourselves, really, I think, after the last couple of away games in the Premier League, which have been really disappointing. So we're desperately keen to try and put that right and get our Premier League form back on track.
Do you get that sense from the players, do you, that they feel that they need to prove themselves after the last couple of performances?
Yeah, well, I've always had that feeling. Regardless of your results, you have something to prove every game, and you have, most importantly, yourself to consistently answer any questions you have about yourself. And I want the players to respond this weekend. Everyone's hurt from, as I said, those 2 away games that we had in the Premier League, and no one more than myself, been looking deep into everything that we do and looked back at those games and planned and plotted a route ahead. So yeah, keen to get the games going again.
And then I guess after that it's batten down the hatches up until, well, I was going to say Christmas, but it kind of goes beyond that, doesn't it? The schedule's relentless, and you touched on that a moment ago. Yeah,
it is. I mean, it goes right to the end of January. This is going to be a really, I think, a really enjoyable spell, because the games have been brilliant so far. I think we've really enjoyed the Champions League challenge that brings, and then back to the Premier League, and that sort of yo-yo effect we have to deal with it better. It's been a real challenge, especially away from home, as we spoke about many times in the Premier League, and we've got to try and navigate that better. But I think we've got the squad to cope with that, especially if we can get these last remaining players fit that have been close and building their fitness. And then I think our squad looks really strong.
Thanks, Keith. Andy?
Morning, Eddie. On a personal level, you're inducted into the club's Hall of Fame the other night. I know you're pretty humble, you don't like speaking about yourself, but after such a relatively short time at the club, how big of an accolade is that for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was, as you say, the personal accolades I find difficult, because it's never about, I always feel it's never about me. It's always about the team. It's always about the players, the staff, and I'm just one of those staff, obviously leading them, but very grateful for the staff and the input and everything that they give me, and collectively how we go about our work. We try to do the best we can. So when that accolade was sort of put on my radar, I decided to accept it, or sort of on the behalf of everybody. Came at a sort of a difficult time, mixed with some disappointing results, but you have to try and put that aside. And it was a great night on Tuesday, and I respect the foundation do some incredible work, and I want to highlight that the staff of the foundation, everyone that uses the foundation, it's a remarkable organisation, and it's very proud to be there and listen to the stories of various people. And I think that put everything to context and gave extra boost and lift going into the next group of games.
Absolutely. Look, on the football, Lewis Hall, obviously he's had a difficult time of injuries, looked really, really good for the under-21s in midweek, could be on for, I think it's only his 3rd start since February. How much do you sense that he is absolutely champing at the bit, not just to get back out there against a side like Manchester City, but get out there consistently now as well?
Yeah, Lou is a very, very driven human being. I think he's got, for someone so young, he's got a great mentality about him. He wants to play, wants to make a difference, wants to help his team. He's got standout qualities. I think we've really missed those qualities since he's been injured. But for someone so young, we've had to be really careful with him and try and get him back onto the pitch when he's close to 100% fit. And I think that's the key thing for him now, and that gives him the best chance then of staying fit. And especially, as we said, with the schedule coming up, we're going to have to manage him at times. But he's a real talent.
We were speaking, before about the form recently, that kind of difference between the Champions League and the Premier League. How do you make sense of the Newcastle form right now? Because there are so many differences between Champions League, Premier League, away form, home form. Can you make any sense of it or not?
You can try. I don't think you'll ever get a definitive, and everyone I know wants definitive sort of one thing to fix, but football doesn't work like that. It's always about multi-factors. It's always about lots of different things, because you're dealing with human beings, and many of them, and trying to get the team to function in the best way possible and getting back to our very best levels consistently is always going to be about a squad of 30 players. So we've worked really hard during the international break. I've done a lot of analysis personally to try and make sense of it all and bring some clarity. And I think that's the key thing. It's always about the future and what tweaks and changes you'll make to try and find the best formula for consistent success. So having done that work, I'm excited about what the future will bring. There's no guarantees for anything, but I just want to see us consistently play to a really high level, and that's the challenge.
Just finally, you used that word respond before. In your time here at the club, the team have maybe faced tough times before. You've always responded. You've always bounced back. How have you done that?
I think with consistency of training and consistency of message, and having some really, really good professionals here. And I still feel we have that. I think we have a core of very honest, motivated, talented people that want to be successful. I think if you have those as a starting point, then I think success naturally, if you work hard and work smart, will come. So I'm a firm believer of trying to do the right things and not changing too much. Doesn't mean you can't change, but not changing too much. And then sometimes when you're in sort of the position that we've been in the last few weeks, is going back to basics, not complicating it, keeping it very simple for the players to understand, and giving them markers to define their performance to make sure you get what you want.
Thanks, Andy. Nisha.
Morning, Eddie.
Morning.
How is Tino Livramento? How close is he? Is he available?
He's very close. He's trained this international break, which has been great to see. Such an important player for us. Great to have him back. Training with the group, he's shown his qualities. He's been out a while, and his injury was serious enough to make sure we treat him well. But I'd say he's done a lot of work. He's been very, very good professionally in terms of how he's dealt with the injury and the work that he's done with the physios. So I'd say he's in pretty good shape.
How important could having him back be? He's been such an important player either side. Could he be one of the main differences as you look for consistency?
Yeah, I think he's an outstanding player, and he's got the athletic qualities and the technical qualities, in, as you say, off both sides of the pitch that we've missed. So together with Lewis coming back to fitness, they're two really young, energetic players that I think can add a lot to the team. So really pleased to have both players potentially available.
It goes without saying that playing Man City is one of the hardest games you'll face all season. How do you go about it as a coach? You have a player like Haaland, you've got quality all over. Do you go back to the drawing board, look at formations? If your man mark it's dangerous, how are you going about that challenge?
Yeah, of course you look at the opposition, we always do. We've done a lot of work to try and figure out what we're going to face and give the players the tools to try and combat that. But most importantly, give the team a structure and a framework to allow us to showcase what we can do. And I think it's always a balance. We try and get that balance right between us executing what we do really well against any opponent. You're right, Manchester City have threats from lots of different areas of their team. So I think if you focus too much on one, I don't think that's right. But of course, Haaland, as you mentioned, an outstanding goal scorer, can score all different types of goals. So we're going to have to defend really, really well. But I don't think there's one way of doing it. I think if you press high, there's going to be weaknesses to that. If you drop low, there's going to be weaknesses to that. You've got to do what you think is right based on the players that you have.
And just finally, to beat Man City at home after the break, could that be a catalyst? Could that just be that result that could really change the narrative of the Premier League season?
Well, it could, and I think we're determined to try and make that happen. Whichever game is the catalyst, whichever source, we need some inspiration from myself, from the coaching team, from the players, and I think we need a very positive outlook. The season's still very young. There's very tight in terms of the points and the teams above us. Things can change very, very quickly. So I think we need a positive outlook, but we also need a determination to try and get back to our very best levels consistently.
Thank you. Thanks, Nisha. Go to Damien, Dominic and Jordan, please.
Morning, Eddie.
Morning.
Eddie, Nick Falderballas had a really good window, got some good centre-forward goals. You've talked in the recent past about how difficult it's been to assimilate him into the team because of the lack of training time. How difficult has that been to try and assimilate him and get him into the right places and get him the right service?
Yeah, I think whenever you're not training, and the training, I think we spoke about this 2 years ago, is you can never replicate it. There's nothing that you can do to stimulate that falsely. We're doing a lot of repetition with him and video analysis, walking through situations. Obviously the best way to do that is live and is within the training sessions, and I think it's easier for the player to understand it and to take it and for things to become natural. But I have to say, considering the lack of training time we've had with him, I think he's done really, really well, and he's tried to implement as good as he can what we've asked him to do, and started off really well in terms of goals. I think those goals in the international break were doing the world of good as well. I think confidence is everything to a centre forward. So I think he could be really pleased with himself, but we have to demand more, and we need more from him in the sense that he's the focal point of the team. It's such an important position. Everything will sort of come around him in terms of our performance. So there's big expectations on him. There's big pressure on his shoulders. He's handled that really well so far. And of course, then the team behind him have to deliver for him as well. And I think we haven't done that well enough in the last couple of away games.
And you were asked earlier about the schedule you have coming up into January. To what extent will that shape your season, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it will be a big part of it, because the sheer weight of games will define where we are in the Premier League, how we look in the various competitions that we're in. I think it's an exciting thing. I think, again, if we can get the big body of players fit and keep them fit, I think we'll have a squad robust enough to deal with those games. But yeah, getting the players back in really good condition is the key thing. I think we can't have players that are half fit. We have to have players that are ready to execute what we need them to do at this very elite level of football. So we're working hard to do that behind the scenes.
Thanks, Damien. Dominic?
Morning, Eddie. Just on that, is there any clearer time frame on a return date for Johan Wissa?
No, I haven't got a clear, defined return date for you. He's working well. So he's not back training with us yet, but he's close. He's working with the sports scientists. He's in that phase, sort of moves past the physios. He's now back with the sports science team, and he's also almost entering a pre-season with them currently. He's doing a lot of work. He's looked good. He's looking better with every session. And as I say, he's close to training with us. But until he gets to there, it's very difficult to give you a date.
Yeah, and with it difficult to give us a date, the AFCON squads will be announced in the next few weeks. And given he's barely played any football the last 6 months, is there a chance he, regardless of your stance, the club stance, is there a chance he may simply not be fit enough to go away?
Well, we'll wait and see what happens.
Thank you. Jordan?
Morning, Eddie. Just on Johan, will he be a transformative signing when he returns?
Well, we hope so. I mean, he's got Premier League experience. His goal record last year was very, very good. I think he understands the league and the expectations of the league, which is crucial, and that's a big reason why we signed him, because there would be very low adaptation period. Then the big adaptation period for him now is his fitness and making sure that he comes back and he's ready to play and ready to execute what we need him to. He's done his part in that. He's working, as I said earlier, he's working incredibly hard to try and deliver that for us and for himself and for his teammates, and he can do no more. So we're in that process of just getting him where he needs to be in terms of sharpness and fitness.
Just check on the fitness of two other players. How are Joe Linton and Willis Sula?
Willis Sula we haven't seen back in training yet, but again, I think his injury hasn't been totally plain sailing. I think there's been a few days where he's felt really good and a few days then when he's felt a bit of pain. So I think he might be going to see a specialist on Monday, not necessarily on a negative, but just to get sort of full clearance that he's okay to continue as he is. So we won't see him back sort of in the next couple of games, I don't think. Joelinton's been fine. He took a nasty whack on his leg. He's had to bandage that up, but he's trained.
Thank you. We'll go to Chris, Luke, and then to Lee, please.
Morning, Eddie. You mentioned that there's been a lot of analysis of the international break, including you said of yourself. Well, what does that sort of look like? What exactly have you been doing in that regard, and what have you found, I suppose?
I always think it's very difficult to tell you what I found, but I think what it looks like is me watching a lot of games. So it's not exotic, it's not exciting, it's not necessarily what you expect me to be doing on the international break, but laptop, games, training, reviewing a lot of things. So then the only reason you do that for me is to come out with a clear plan of what we need to do next and what we need to focus on, what we need to work on, planning future training sessions. So a lot of planning and also watching a lot of the opposition we have coming up, because time's going to be very limited as we go into games, so I need to get ahead of the curve.
You mentioned watching opposition. I'm not sure there's a polite way of saying this, but your record against Manchester City in the league's not necessarily brilliant.
Is it not good?
No.
I didn't know that. Cheers, Chris.
So in terms of that, is there been reflections on how you've approached that previously? How you can try and turn that record around a little bit?
We've done everything against them. We've done everything. Similar to the question earlier, we've pressed them, we've dropped off them, we've played a 5-4. I don't think we've got anything new left to try, to be honest. We've been unlucky in a few games, I'd say. But then you make your own luck, and you have to give a lot of credit to Pep and his team. I think they've been incredibly consistent over a long period of time, and that's why they've been the best. So full credit to them, but we'll try and find a way, and we'll have a new way of playing. We never do the same thing twice. So, yeah, we'll keep going until we try and find the answer.
Thank you. Luke?
You've had criticism before as Newcastle manager. What would be your message to those who are criticising you and this group of players at the moment because they believe the season hasn't been good enough so far?
I don't think I necessarily have a message for them, whoever they are. I think it's about us. It's about our response internally, because we feel the same. We know that our Premier League form especially hasn't been good enough, so take full responsibility for that. And all we can do then is work really hard and try and work really clever to try and find the right solutions, get the right balance in the team and find a new way forward. And as long as I see my team executing what I ask them to do, as long as I see full effort from everybody, we'll take what happens. But I do believe that we are good enough if we deliver those things to get a lot of points.
A lot of talk about this being a season of transition at Newcastle, that you are adapting, that you are changing the way you play. Do you agree with that definition of it, or can you not afford to do so?
Well, I think every team goes through transition at certain or different times, and you accept that's part of the game. You're never going to be the same, and if you are the same continually, you're going to fail eventually, because nothing stands still in this game. It moves forward so quickly. So yeah, we are, I'd say, slightly in transition in a lot of different aspects, but that doesn't mean you still can't be successful, and that's our challenge, is to, as we move into different spheres. I mean, the style of play, I wouldn't necessarily say has been a dramatic change. Individuals always change the style slightly depending on who you play, but there hasn't been a big intentional shift. Yes, we want to grow and improve what we do, but we still believe in the same principles. So I think it's a case of acknowledging that and still trying to win.
Lee Ryder?
Eddie, everyone associates a bad run with something sinister, something's going on in the dressing room, that sort of stuff. But do Manchester City show that you can just simply have a bad run and recover and get back to your best form?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, really. Is something sinister and something bad? I sort of agree with you. I think naturally people assume that there's big problems if you're not getting results, and sometimes that is the case. I'm not blind. I'm not trying to stick my head in the sand and say we don't have issues, because our Premier League form would say that we have, and it's acknowledging those is important. But sometimes you can look for something deeper than Sometimes there is. It can be a case of you missing key players, or your key players aren't playing well enough, or something that we're delivering isn't good enough, in our preparation. So we're looking through everything and to try and find a new way forward to give us consistent results. But I would say the biggest thing for me always is, are the players giving their all? And if the players aren't giving their all, then there may be something sinister. If the players are, then I back them with the qualities that will come through it. And we haven't been perfect in every game. We're a long way short in some games. But overall, I'd say the players are giving their all.
And just on that, I mean, you're never going to have everybody fully fit in one block, but hopefully that does happen. But can this team not be judged properly until everybody is back?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, because as much as I'd like to say yes, don't judge us until everyone's back, it's a football season. There'll always be players out injured, so I think you have to judge us all of the time, and you're free to do that, and we have to acknowledge that. There's no free pass. We've had players out injured before, and we will have them again. It's part and parcel of football. We're a little bit unfortunate where we've lost in groups. We lost both fullbacks in terms of the younger fullbacks, and then we've lost a few attacking players, which has limited our options. But that comes with the territory.
Thanks, Lee. Now we've got a Scott, Craig, and then finish with Kieran, please. Scott.
Hi, Eddie. Eddie, I think I'm right in saying that there's 4 defenders who are in the last years of their contract. So Kieran, Fabian, Emile and Jamal. Have you had any conversations with Ross about contracts with them and where they're at? And is there any kind of worry that, given the age profile of some of them players, that in January the club might decide this is the chance to kind of get some value out of them by selling?
Haven't had discussions on Ross really with any players' contracts. I think he's evaluating everything as he's come in, and he's very sort of newly into the building. I'm sure he's taking a lot in regarding players of our own contracts and January, etc. We've obviously had discussions, but not necessarily firming up on plans for the future in respect. So I'm sure that will happen at some stage. But I think we're quite relaxed currently about that situation. Yes, we're aware of all contract lengths of all the players, and we'll make decisions following that.
And then just kind of looking ahead slightly to January, and I know this isn't really your remit, but obviously Alexander was sold in the summer, and I think there's perhaps a simplistic idea that, well, that's the PSR problem solved at a stroke because he's gone for an awful lot of money. Clearly the club, though, spent a fair bit of money in the summer. I mean, where do you feel Newcastle is sitting now in terms of PSR? Because it's something we've talked about kind of ahead of every other window.
Yeah, you give me a good way out there. It's not my field. So
I realise I shouldn't have said that.
You shouldn't have said that. No, I genuinely don't know. I mean, PSR is always a factor. So in a sense of, I understand the sentiment will be selling Alex will have solved all our problems forever. That's far from the case. It will be ongoing, and it will be through, while those rules are in place, it will be through every window. That will be a big consideration.
Thanks, Scott. Craig.
Morning, Eddie.
Morning.
You said you'd watched a lot of games over the international break. I presume some of that included Germany with Nick. Was there anything you gleaned from that, or took from that, from a technical or tactical perspective with regards the ability of number 10 or that left footer on the right, or getting players around him? Did you take anything from those games as to how you can implement that here with regards to Nick?
Yeah, of course, watch those games. I think difficult to take too much, because I think every squad is different and every style of play is different, and the opposition you're playing is also different. So yes, of course, we know where Nick works best and how he operates best, and we've tried to give him that framework and that environment here. But of course, it depends how much of the ball you have. It depends how strong and dominant you are in the game. I think definitely looking back at the last 2 away games, we've been too transitional to sort of see him at his best, meaning we haven't kept the ball well enough higher up the pitch to then feed him the ball in the areas where he works best. Technically, we weren't good enough against Brentford and West Ham, so we're looking to put that right.
And every time you play Manchester City, we ask a question of this nature with regards Newcastle hunting Manchester City down, because that was when the takeover happened. They were the dominant team at the time. And in recent years, it's almost felt as if the trajectory, the ascent was very steep. Where are you at now with regards to that? Will it take a little bit longer? Has there been a little bit of realisation over the past 12 to 18 months?
It's not something I judge us by. You'll understand why. You know, I don't sit there and sort of analyse Manchester City and analyse ourselves. We're just trying to win games and do what we need to do short and long term to progress the club. But I'd say we've got some way to go to get close to not just Manchester City, but get close to the top teams in the division, because we're coming from a long way back. And as much as you want to accelerate that line, we have to build, and we have to build from the inside out to get there.
Thank you. Kieran, to finish.
Maureen, there were some harsh words after the Brentford defeat last season. Given the fragility of confidence, has it been a different approach this time round, or have you shied away from being quite upfront with the players?
Well, I haven't seen the majority of the players until yesterday, so no, we've been quite upfront. I think that's my way of working. I don't believe you can be anything else. I think you've got to be honest. But of course, you've got to think, these players are playing so quickly that we can't dwell too long. As much as you want to sort of live in that place and spark a response, I think it's got to be quite short, sharp, direct, and then right now it's to the future. And the future can be very positive. It depends what picture you want to paint. So we haven't dwelled on the defeat in a sense of from yesterday when we got the group back together, but we did go to the areas that we need to improve and the areas that we have worked on, and now we need to implement that as best we can.
And kind of the transitional elements you've mentioned, have you felt the support, understanding from those above about those issues? Because a lot of people came in after the summer, of course.
Yeah, I haven't really sought assurance. I don't feel that's right from my perspective. It's about working for me. It's about showing that we have the experience and the expertise to guide us forward, and I need to show that.
Thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
You are listening to NUFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army. Live daily on the website, on YouTube, and on every online radio directory. NUFC Talk, the voice of the Toon Army.
There we
Gentlemen,
have it.
all right, we're back, and that was Eddie Howe, to say the least. Mr. Eddie Howe, with the latest updating on Newcastle United fans on everything else. Listen, we're gonna be live for a good amount here, a good amount of time. So phone in right now and react to what Eddie Howe had to say. 0191 916 8864. You'll see it on your screen. 0191 916 8864. React. Have your say of what Eddie Howe said. So call in and have your opinion out there. What do you think about what Eddie Howe came out? I have two worrying things that I wrote down that are scaring me right now. But we'll get to that, I guess, at some point. Anything that Sam, won't go on?
There was one thing that really caught my eye. Yeah, it was whenever he said, or somebody asked him the question about the takeover and us going up and competing with the best of the best, and then he's like, "We are way off." See, that's what I was trying to get to, saying to win before the press conference. I'm like, if we are happy with just winning a cup and finishing at 11th and not making Champions League again, how do you expect us to catch up to these big guys if we are consistently making Champions League and not making Champions League? Champions League, no Champions League. See, what we need to do is consistently make Champions League, so that way we can build a better and bigger squad for us to compete with those bigger clubs. Because at the moment, we're definitely not doing that. And that's where I totally agree with him. I agree with him with that, because we are still way off, because as you can see, it's telling you on the bloody table right now. That's what it's doing. So I don't know. That's what I was actually very, very happy with the way he said it, because it's the truth. We are so far behind them, it's not even funny.
If you're saying to me, would I rather qualify for the Champions League or win the FA Cup? I want to win the FA Cup. Football for me is about winning trophies.
Yeah, of course it is, but sometimes it's not just about winning.
Yes, it's going to increase the revenue and all of that. But that's for the future, if you like. let's accept the fact that right now we can't compete financially with them, and therefore let's do what we can to win what we can till we eventually catch them up, which will happen.
But again, nobody's. Well, I'm not crying to winning the Champions League or the Premier League. I'm talking. Well, you can win. Teams like Aston Villa, like even Crystal Palace, and Newcastle have won cups. So that's where we should be at, competing for those, and also finishing in Europe. So I don't think anything is too much of an expectation to meet for this team. So yeah, I agree with you. We don't have the money that Man City spends, so that's why we don't have that expectation to win everything. But we do have the expectation to finish in Europe every season and compete for those cups that we get to play. We're nowhere near that. So you can say the Carabao Cup. We'll see what happens, of course. But Gary, what do you want to say?
I mean, it's an interesting look, and I think what Eddie's tried to say there is about expectations in the political way he always does it. I mean, he faces the media week in, week out. Again, and you get the same old. That's why I put in there. It's Eddie Howe now. Sounds to me like he's going on the insanity, the definition of insanity, because what you're getting is exactly the same type of spiel as you get week in, week out. I mean, yes, he has to be honest with the players. Yes, he's got to give everybody, a telling off when he needs to. We are human beings at the end of the day. But to me, it's all exactly the same. It doesn't change anything. Sam's saying about, like, we want to be in Europe year in, year out. That's great for, commercial business, if you like, because you're global. The trouble is, you don't get remembered for coming second in any competition. If you win the FA Cup this season, that will be edged on that cup, and it will be screened year in, year out about you are the recent winners. The same as the Carabao Cup. If you look everywhere now, even though it's a real small trophy, everybody sees that Newcastle are the winners or the holders of that trophy. So you do get a lot more advertisement for winning a competition, regardless of what competition it is. So I understand both sides of the coin. For me, every game that you enter, the next game, and there's a lot of games coming in, has to remain mentally the final. That's how they have to go in and approach every single game to turn this corner. And I think it was more the mind games that Eddie was trying to get across, because he said, we've tried to throw everything at Man City. We've gone 5 at the back. We've gone 4 at the back. We've got on the press. We've got on the defensive, and they've still come undone. So for me, him going over this thing was more an attitude to each and every game. Regardless of the style, it was the attitude. And that's why I put in the chat, the definition of Einstein's coming up, insanity, because he's going to do the same, see what results come from it.
Well, I got 2 things that worry me sick that he said. The main one, he said, as long as I see my team execute what I ask him to, he's okay. And that's what he's seeing, that he's seeing his team execute what he's asking them to.
Yeah. What's that?
And then so now we're proper knackered.
We are knackered.
I mean, because if this is what he's asking them to execute.
What he did say is that what he looks for are the players giving their all.
And also, and that means another sentence. And another sentence comes in, and he says, and that I see them execute what I ask them to. So there's 2 things: him losing the locker room, and that's fine. He doesn't see that. We can take his word for it that he doesn't see that he's losing the players, and that he sees them execute what he asks them to, and that's what worries me, because he surely cannot be thinking that, or he could be lying, which I'd rather him lie. To be honest, at this point in time, I'd rather him be lying than, because he can't be asking them to do this, surely, right? I mean, that's worrying, right? Win, you're worried about that, right?
Well, it's interesting that you picked up on apparently what the second half of that. As soon as he said, as long as I started writing it down, and I must have missed that while I was writing down the players giving their all.
Yeah. They're not doing that. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's why you got selected.
Because if he thinks they're giving their all, and they are executing the plans that he's given them,
we are not.
Well, you're right. That is kind of worrying.
But it is worrying
because it ain't working.
Like as well, if that's what he's implementing as well on the players, that's horrible.
Yeah, he was asked about Nick, and I think it was Craig said, have you watched the Germany game? Is there anything you've taken from that so that we can get better use out of him, if you like? And it was noticeable then that he said, the trouble is we are giving the ball away too often in the opponent's third, so we're not getting the ball to him. Which kind of backs up what you were saying, feed the goat and he will score. And he accepts that we're losing the ball too often in the top third.
And another one that scared me as well was we never do the same twice. I mean, it wasn't that good. I mean, it's just
we've been doing it for 4 years, mate.
Well, with specific regard to Man City, he did say, we've tried, as Gary's just mentioned there, we've tried 4 at the back, we've tried 5 at the back, we've tried pressing, we've tried sitting back. So that isn't doing the same thing twice, if you believe it, if you've witnessed it with your eyes. The other thing that I was very surprised at, and I've checked it and it's absolutely true, Lewis Hall has only started 3 games.
3 games, yeah.
Since February last year.
Yeah, well, he got injured before the cup, so
that's right.
He didn't start again.
But yeah, I'm coming back to my my old Longstaff stats. Because that was when a cup final accepted. That was when we went on a run of the back end of last season was poor, and the start of this season's been poor. And has that coincided with Lewis Hall's injury? And there's something that I'll be doing.
I think the one thing you had in our favour to a degree when Lewis Hall went down, was the fact that you had Tino step into his shoes. I think the fall down massively, and that's why I did that deep look into the fullback scenario, was since we've lost the 2 young lads, the fall off from Newcastle has been absolutely incredible. And that is because the style of player that Newcastle develop is always through the width, and it's predominantly left-hand side. But because there's no movement from that middle section, because under Eddie Howe, and again, we go back to that same old, they don't need to move because there's movement on the width. So what these guys become is the anchor men in midfield. And everything, as you know, you've got 2 that always predominantly want the ball with Tonali and Bruno. Bruno seems to be the one that always will come to the ball and then try and develop the ball whichever way he's going. And it's usually on the half turn. And that's where he gets criticised with, because instead of laying off and then moving another 5 yards, he tries to do another job. And that's not what football's about. And that's what I said. If you haven't got the skill set, and I think Eddie Howe, when he's doing this analytic stuff and he's watched game after game after game, as he's just mentioned there, he has to go to these individuals and tell them to work directly on their individual strengths. Because if you do that, give the ball and go, keep saying the ball's round, it will always run a lot quicker than your flat-footed people, out there. So go and give the ball and then work your 5-yard channels. Receive the ball back, 5-yard channels. All you get at the minute is the same old. People trying to do too much and then end up making a mistake. And then we're on a transition from forward to defence. And we just get caught out far too many times in the midfield.
Yeah, it's because of the back line. Like we said, Lewis Hall and Tino Livramento were a different side. I mean, and we've seen it and we've witnessed it. Because like the Mighty Win was saying, before Hall got injured, we were on a 9-game winning streak. And then after it, man, we dipped in. Man, we were even lucky to finish in the Champions League spot. It was thank you to Manchester United for beating Aston Villa, because otherwise we'd be in the Europa League. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but then that's where it goes back down to management and coaching. Yeah, I mean, like, you've got your two best fullbacks out. So why do you not try to work around the problem? I mean, he's tried to implement the same thing that these guys have been doing with other players, but as you can see, it's not working. So change it up a bit. I mean, you gotta do something that's going to help your team, because at the moment, what you're coming up with is complete garbage. Because, mate, we've been absolutely rubbish.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I mean, there's no argument there.
Well, that's that third start since February. Bloody hell.
But he's been hurt, man. What you been watching?
I just didn't realize it was as long.
You've been happy clapping too much, man. We got a phone caller here, ladies and gents. How's it going? Hello. Good morning.
Hello, Chris. It's Alan. I just phoned in.
How's it going, man? You say Owen? Is that your name?
Alan.
Sorry?
Alan. Is that your name?
Alan, yes.
Alan. Alan McMurtry.
Morning, Alan. Yes.
How's it going,
Morning,
man? I remember you. You're a postman, aren't you? In the tomb.
I'm a what?
A postman?
Yeah, I live in Newcastle. I live right at the stadium, yes.
Yeah, lovely, man. Well, but first of all, tell me what part of Newcastle you live in?
I live in Stanhope Street, which is just behind the Black Bull.
Right
behind the Black Bull.
Stadium.
Behind the Black. Ooh, you live right there, man. Your house must cost a couple million. Come on,
I've lived here for 25 years.
Come on, man. You trying to sell it to the club, man. You're gonna be rich.
I used to deliver up in Winds area for my deliveries. I worked here for 20 years as a delivery driver.
Over there at Gosforth, where the rich people at.
In Gosforth, live all over the town, but the restaurant was based in Gosforth, the Shahi. One will know it.
Lovely, man.
Yeah, I've phoned you once or twice before.
By the way, me and you have something in common now?
What's that?
We're both Scottish.
Oh, very good.
Hey, man, we just qualified, man. Where's the excitement?
Yeah.
How man?
Yeah, I thought it was some game the other night for Scotland. I don't really bother that much for international football.
Oh, you must be
my team in Scotland.
You must be a Celtic. You must be on the Celtic side, man. How man?
Oh no! None of them, mate. Let me explain. I supported Kilmarnock in Scotland, and always when Celtic Rangers would come and pinch our players, they'd buy them and take them. I moved down here in 1990, and when I came here, Roy Aitken was the manager, and it was like 19,000 were getting at St James's. But I thought, it's my local team, I'm going to support them. And then John Hall and the group take over, and it was just accelerated for there. And I'm glad to have been a part of it for the last 25, 30 years. It's been that special.
There you go. Lovely,
and I
man.
have no conflict. I always said, if I came down here and Kilmarnock was drawn against Newcastle, I'd think, oh, well, I want a draw. But the bottom line, there's no happened in 30 years, so it's unlikely to Kilmarnock. They're just a bottom team in the Premier League in Scotland.
Alan, if ever that happens, you can take Winsid because he sits on the halfway line. So trust me, mate, you could wear half colours there. Nobody would know.
Lovely, man. Hey,
you're from Ayrshire, are you, Alan?
I'm from Kilmarnock, yes. I lived in Ayrshire for 20 years, and then I moved down here in 1990.
I lived in Loch Hall for 3 years.
Yeah, we don't care about where you live, man.
Paisley, is that Paisley up in Glasgow?
No, Loch Hall, man, Stonehaven. When
right,
on
the East Coast.
Come off the 74 towards Kilmarnock.
He used to. He got set up that he used to cross illegal things across the border. So he used to. That was back in the 70s, though. You got to excuse. It was everywhere, man. It was everywhere. Listen, what is your take on Newcastle, man? What do you think about Eddie Howe's presser?
Well, I missed a bit of it there. I usually watch your thing in the morning. If I'm up or in the house, I'll watch the early press thing. And I think Eddie speaks well to the media. And I like to see his judges when Livermento's back. Hall as well. Byrne, brilliant centre defender, but I agree, no good in the left wing. He's did a job because we were stuck, but I would have him as backup for Chow and Bachmann and midfield and middle of the defence. But as far as Man City, it could go anyway. It could raise the game as they normally do against teams like this team and the other top ones. And I would be happy with a draw at the moment, the way it's going. I'd rather beat the Mackhams than beat Man City at the moment.
Is there? How are you feeling on the whole situation of Newcastle United right now? Are you just riding with the waves, or
a bit kind of not disillusioned? It's the rules that the Premier League brought in is handcuffed us or put one arm behind our back, and it's like it was the ecstasy. I was walking through Leesy's Park with my dog when they got the text and the kind of confirmation come through that the Saudis were interested. And I just thought, oh, here, that's it. We'd blow the rest of them away. None of Man City, Chelsea, you can't compete with the money these guys have got. But then the Premier League, the reality kind of dawned in the Premier League's rules, and they're limited, as I'm saying. But I'm still full of hope. I believe that Eddie Howe, I agree, I don't believe Eddie Howe will be the guy that will take us to the top hurdle. He's on the journey, and he may be replaced in the summer. But I'm happy with him at the moment. I think he's done excellent the past 2 years. He's got his flaws, like the in-game decisions, as you all know. And I don't blame him. I think the players we have bought have been different class. I couldn't complain of anybody that has been brought in. As regard, like you hear people, clubs spending 50, 60 million, and they've been flops. We haven't had that in all the players we've signed. So I'm well happy with the players we've brought in. But we still need players to improve that squad.
But we should
Denali's out of this world. What a player!
But Alan, we should be doing better, man. And come on, man,
so much better. Oh yes, so much better.
Yep, we should be doing better. I agree. It's just there's that. Look at the competition in the Premier. I know the games that were the last two league games. They're just games that have just been thrown away. Literally, we should be beating teams like that. But I think a lot of teams in the Premier have improved a lot. And as you all know, there are not really any easy games. But that's not an excuse. It's just, it's a long season, so I still think we could go on a run like last season and the previous season where you'd maybe 9-10 games.
There's three things, Alan. Sorry, mate. It's Sam from Sydney, the mate. Look, there's three things that you said that are a bit, how can I say, how you going? It's more, okay, you'd rather beat the Mackhams than beat Manchester City. No, we should be beating both. Why can't we beat both? That should be the mentality of the club. It shouldn't be just, okay, let's just beat Sunderland. I mean, we're not here just to just beat Sunderland. We need to start competing. We need to keep competing because, like I said, if you want those quality of players to come in, we need to finish in those top spots. And that's the only way that the club's going to generate that money to compete. And Eddie Howe hasn't just done a fantastic job. He's done an amazing job. In that 4 years that Eddie Howe has been in, I mean, 2 cup finals, 2 Champions League campaigns. I mean, why can't he take us to that next step? I think he can. I mean, if he's done this, why can't he go to the next step? Not many managers have done what he's done.
Yeah, he could. But just my reason for saying that, you know what football's like. The fan base gets unhappy. Results don't come. You go 10 games and don't win in a game. And look at the stats. I've seen some of the guys saying the stats a couple of them after the last game.
Because there's expectation on the club.
We'd only won so many games. We'd only won so many games. An away game, I was at something since the early last year or something. We hadn't won an away game. So these stats have all got to be improved. But of course, we should be beating Man City. But when you look at the resources that they've been able to put into that club, they look like they've turned the corner and they're clicking. So that's my reason for saying that. I believe we had 3-4 players. I think their quality is there to compete with them. We need a striker. We've not had Wissa and Walt Amada, as you know, a different style of football from playing with Isaac up front. So I think a little bit of a transition this season. But I'm still hopeful. No, I still want to think, well, at the end of the day, they will be up there challenging for titles and European things. The Saudis didn't buy this to be runners-up. That's how I was so excited when I heard they were involved.
Of course. That's a good point. Of course, I don't expect when the league starts, I don't expect to beat Man City. When you look at the fixture, I think you got to give it a good go. However, at this point in time, right now in the situation that we're in, I'm afraid we cannot use the excuse you can get beaten by City. We cannot use that excuse no more because we put ourselves in this situation where we cannot afford to lose points. We can't.
Yeah.
But maybe a point will do. To me, that'll be fine, and then you got to be Everton away to get back. I think on this course.
We're just going to run like they did the last time that they did last season. So let's hope that they can turn the corner.
Yep.
And get it going.
Fingers crossed, Alan.
Fingers crossed, Alan. Man, appreciate you calling me. Call us back soon and often, man. We need to talk to you, man. But we need you to next time. I need my fellow Scotsman. Next time, I need my fellow Scotsman to be more, more about the blue and white, man. More about that white cross. We need a more, you know what I mean. We need more that white X, that cross.
Gotta do the litmus question though. Alan, what's your threshold for Eddie? When do you think Eddie should be gone? If he should be gone?
Well, if we go this season and it's mid-table kind of mediocrity, and the Champions League kind of, I don't believe we're going to win the Champions League, but you never know how they can games. Just once you get to playing one-off games, you never know how they can go. So I would say if we end up mid-table and don't really qualify for Europe again next season, then I think they maybe be thinking then. I think he's got some credit in the bank.
European qualification.
We need European qualification without a doubt.
Yeah,
and possibly a cup. I think we have a decent chance in the cup we won last season because that's a good draw. Fulham at home, and then you never know after that. So
yeah, good point.
To get to a final again would be good.
That's right.
That would be that would be one final get beat. One we should have got there if Kieran Trippier and he's been brilliant. If he hadn't just slipped in that game at Chelsea, I think we'd have won that game and got to the final or got to the semi-final, and then to win it the following season. So that'd be 4 seasons that we've been semi-final or winning it or final. So that's good. That's good. So I'd be happy with that. But
there you go.
I'd be accepting with that. I wouldn't be happy getting beat, but I'd accept it. So
yeah. All right, so Alan, appreciate it. Appreciate you calling us, mate. Call us back anytime, brother.
Yeah,
call us, man. Cheers, mate. Thanks, have a good one. Have a good day. Have a good day. That was Alan McMurtry there, calling us from the Tunes, Scotsman. We did miss a call from a phone ending in 275, so call us back if you want to. We were tied up there with Alan, but calling to have your say, ladies and gents. 0191-916-8864. Have your say live on NUFC Talk. What other points do you want? Did you guys remember for the presser? The Wissa situation seems to be extending and extending and extending, and I don't know. We got a new caller here though. Again, here we go. How's it going, mate? All good?
All right, mate. You?
I'm doing good, man. What's your name?
Dave.
Dave. Where are you calling from, Dave?
I'm calling from Chester, which is northwest England.
Northwest England.
Give me Liverpool.
You're a Scouser, man.
Closer to Liverpool. My family are all Reds, but I kind of broke the trend a bit. I'm a Geordie.
Are you a Geordie? Or you were born in Newcastle, or you just?
No, I'm born and bred in the northwest, but
you're adopted Geordie.
Newcastle was just the team for me, so I abandoned the Red ship.
How did you become a Newcastle fan? How did you become a Newcastle fan when Liverpool was just right there?
Well, when I was really getting into football, it was when Cole and Ferdinand were playing for Newcastle, and they were just going places. And I asked my dad for a Newcastle shirt for Christmas. He wouldn't get me one, so I had to ask my mum, and she got me one secretly. And that was 30 years ago.
Can always trust mum.
So Cole and Ferdinand scammed you. You thought we were going places. And then we ended up.
We are knackered.
But anyways, Dave, we're lovely you calling us, mate. Appreciate you calling us. I mean, what did you watch the presser or?
Yeah, well, I've just tuned in to watch it. Yeah.
Okay.
But the reason I was calling was, I think there's a little bit maybe a little bit over the top in terms of levelling a lot of this stuff at Eddie. I don't think that's the case personally. I think everything's been in place from Eddie. Just think over the summer, if you don't have a director of football in place at the club, it's not fair on him. He can't do two jobs. He needs a break in the summer as well. And if you've got someone in there, then you are probably making those transfers. You're doubling up with your left backs, because that's what, in my opinion, that's what's killed us this season. Not having those full backs fit, the most of it. Dan Burn is many things. A left back is not one of them.
But surely,
and I do agree to a bit. He should have changed the shape a bit. But yeah, that's I think that's a big part of our problem.
The situation, but Dave, surely we're better than where we are now, though.
Say again, sorry.
Surely we should be better than where we are now with the players.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's a bit of it's a big change. Voldemar isn't Isak, is he? I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sold on Voldemar. I know he scored a few good goals. And he's had some good touches, and I do like him, but I've never seen Eddie Howe set up with a formation where I think Voldemar would fit into that really well, because he never plays with a number 10 really that I can remember. So I don't know where he fits in long term. Does he play with Visser? I'm not sure. So I like to see what happens when Visser's fit.
Yeah. Any questions from the lads? Gary, Wayne?
Well, look, the thing I agreed with him was about the sports director. Not having a sports director definitely affected us, and I agree with him on that one.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think sometimes you are at the mercy of all critics when you're trying to spread yourself across several positions. And as much as we talk about his nephew, Andy Howe, Steve Nixon starting to do a role, unfortunately, we've just been left in the mire a little bit when it comes to transfer windows. And Eddie Howe has tried to develop a squad around that, but he's absolutely spot on with Voldemar. Like I say, we've got to remember Voldemar, as good as he is, wasn't our first 3 or 4 choices. He was down the pecking order a little bit, and people say he's a panic buy, and I don't think that's good. I don't think that's right to call it a panic buy. But I think Dave's spot on. Eddie Howe has to now develop a formation that gets the best out of his players. And if he had Voldemar on a list, whether it be at the top of the list or further down the list, that makes no difference. What you have to do now is adapt the team around Voldemar as your main man, if you like, at the top, because we know he can score goals, and you have to develop a formation that gets the best out of the team as well as the individual players.
Gary, look, if you could get Ekitike or Voldemar right now, who would you take?
Ekitike.
That's my point. The top of the list is always better than that bottom part.
Yeah, that's fine, but that's fine, but I'm gonna challenge my man Dave here for a second, because I'm Marco is calling me out in the chat saying that I'm being triggered because Voldemar is my love. I just think he is a center forward. I don't think calling him a 10, that's fine. He can play a 10 probably. I don't know, but you give him the ball, he scores. We've seen it. And Jordy Dan here challenged you as well, Dave, saying Voldemar is literally why we ain't in a relegation zone, because he scored goals, win us game against Wolves only by his goal. That goal, we could have stolen a point at Brighton if we didn't let because of his flick goal. If it wasn't for our defense being draws. So I mean, you're not sold on Voldemar yet, Dave. But I mean, he's been clinical when he's given the ball in the right area.
Yeah, I agree. He has been. He is a good finisher. He's just not in between the posts often enough, is he? He's too busy in that number 10 position. Anthony Gordon being not particularly good this season, he will be good, Voldemar, when Anthony Gordon and whoever plays down that right are regularly running in beyond him. They're not running in beyond him so regularly because they don't have the overlapping fullbacks either side of them either. Yes. But Voldemar is too deep for me. So you might find he's better when we're at home, we've got a load of possession. And he's in between
so really, it's not Voldemar's fault.
But when we're away from home...
fault.
Say that again, sorry.
I'm saying, so it's not Voldemar's fault for dropping back too deep. It's because our wingers aren't doing what the wingers are supposed to be doing.
I just think Voldemar is naturally inclined to drop deeper, whereas Isak would be naturally inclined to play further up the pitch. So I don't think, over the 5 months of the season that we've adapted to fit him into the team really well. When we're breaking, Isak would have been like at the apex of that going forward. And you look, and it's Baltimore is usually running forward with the midfielders. There's no one there to hit. Anthony Gordon will always cut in on his right foot, and there's no one overlapping on his left. So it's so predictable what he's going to do. It's easy to stop.
Dave, when I ask, I'm going to quote Eddie Howe right now. Let me see what you think about it. He said, as long as I see my team execute what I asked them to, and that's what he said the team is doing, he's not worried about, about anything really going on or people talking about him or criticizing him. He also said, obviously, if the players back him, if he feels like he's backing them on the pitch, which he does. But he also said again, as long as I see them execute what I asked them to, I'm not worried. So what do you think about that? Because I mean, if he's asking them to do this against West Ham, against Brentford, then we are in bigger problems than we think we are, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I've got faith in Eddie. I think he's done a fantastic job. I think the way he conducts himself in the media is brilliant, best that I've seen. And I'll have faith if he's got faith. I mean, I know you can't hang on to two fullbacks being the entire world, because they're not. But Trippier's getting on. Dan Burns not quick enough to be out there. When those two guys are back, I think we'll be a different side.
Wayne, did you want to say something to Dave, or you're not bothered because he's a he's not a because he's not a Geordie. He's not a local fan, so you got an issue with him?
I've got no issue with you at all, Dave, bunny lad. No. All I was going to say is exactly as Sam said. Yes, we haven't had fullbacks, which affects the performance, as you say, Sam, but our major failing this season has been the wingers.
They can't cross the ball, man.
Just haven't performed to the way we know they can. And until they develop, and of course that will be helped by getting Hall and Tino back in with their
totally agree.
running ability. Because again, as he said, Dan is everything, but he's not a left back, and especially when it's interesting again what you were saying, Chris, that they are doing what I'm telling them to do. So he's obviously telling Dan to get up, which he has been doing, getting up the wing, and the problem is that he hasn't got the pace to get back.
There you go. Glad you came to that realization.
But it's down to the wingers at the end of the day.
Dave, last thoughts, mate. What do you think is going to happen tomorrow? Actually, yeah, we do play tomorrow. What do you think is going to happen? Be honest, too, man.
I think I'm hopeful tomorrow. I think we're back at home. I expect Hall will start. And by the way, I don't think Hall is on for the Ballon d'Or. I just think he's important to us. But no, we do feel better being at home. We're on the telly on. We were a bit later on, and I don't care who we play at home. I think we can get a result. So I think we nick it tomorrow, 2-1.
There you go.
Woo,
good man.
Fingers crossed, mate.
There you go, mate. Dave, I appreciate you for calling us, mate. Call us anytime, all right? Call us anytime, mate.
Thanks, Dave.
Magic. Cheers, fellas. See ya.
Cheers, buddy. See you later. See you later. I mean, talk to you later, I guess you would say.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was Dave right there. You have a few minutes left, ladies and gents. Call us 0191 916 8864. Newcastle fans, come on and have your say. React to Eddie Howe's comments. The morgues, the presser is done and dusted, mate. You can rewind and watch it back, though. Rewind and watch it back. We can go with some comments.
Interesting, just to go back to the presser, that he was asked, had he had any discussions with Ross Wilson regarding our 4 ageing defenders, Kraft, Shea, Lascelles and Trips, and any thoughts about cashing in on them in January? And he said he's had no contract discussions with Ross at all.
There you go.
But naturally, they've spoken about other stuff, but not specifically about aged players' contracts.
I think I don't think a lot of this will be there for the viewing public. You're talking about personal, things sometimes, and the one thing Eddie and Ross Wilson have to do now, and we spoke the other night when about the 2-year situation. We've got to stop being a club that give players away. We've got to start cashing in on players at 2-year contracts. Once they get down to the last 12 months, like I say, now coming up to 6 months on some of them, they can talk to any club and walk away free in the summer. They don't have to accept anything Newcastle offer them. And we are getting to that nooks and crannies now. We come to the end of November. Eddie Howe needed to have a plan in place, a structure to offer any of the players that are coming to the end of that contract should have been signed up already. That shouldn't be part of the conversation of the Man City presser for me. That should have been something that should be negotiated, something in the summer where you go, you know what, the club are going to give you another 12 months contract. Are you willing to accept it? If no, then move them on, because they aren't going to be involved in us getting any silverware or going more forward as a club. All they do is take the wage and they sit in the back room. It's very much like Gillespie. What job are these players actually doing for Newcastle? Yes, you need a squad, but you need a squad that can change. You need a squad that makes a difference. And at the minute, we've got also runs. They need to be gone.
Definitely, mate. Look, if we can cash in on them, definitely, I agree.
Yeah. Let me go with some comments here. Marco Ryder gave him an excuse question, and Eddie took accountability. I like that from Eddie. It says accountability. I like that from Marco. Marco said that. Darren Lee, this January, we need to find some hidden gems in other markets to bring in. Paul Wright, big problems. It's happening now, yeah. Big problems. He's lost the plot. He said, we never do the same things twice, ladies. And I give you 4-3-3. There you go. So there you go. And Marco, there's a no then to the number 10 question. So that's a no then to the number. So yeah, that's right. Well, Eddie Howe doesn't play with that. He doesn't like it. He just doesn't like it. So it's pointless doing that. Ricky says miles off Craig. Well, I guess they responded to what was going on there in the presser. Paul Wright, he's out of his depth now, and I think he's lost the dressing room other than his favorites, says Paul Wright. NUFC Truth, Chris, is the manager not good enough or recruitment is crap? Well, I'm not sure where that came from, but Alling says he called us as well for Scott McTominay in January. Go for Scott McTominay in January or summer. Has scored a goal at all levels from defensive midfield position. Guy has proved everyone wrong. Great addition to midfield. Well, Scott McTominay is good.
He's enjoyed his football.
Well, hang on a minute. I'll nail my colours to the mast here, because Eddie Howe liked Scott McTominay, and there was talk about going for him before he went to Naples. And everybody's saying he's just another Longstaff, and I completely agreed with that, because to me, I wouldn't have gone anywhere near Scott McTominay back then, and Eddie was after him then, because he's, did he see the player that's there?
Mate, the bloke's banging in goals like Cristiano Ronaldo these days.
Oh, that was crazy. Yeah, that scissor kick.
That was unreal. Good on him.
Yeah, man. There you go. To Nut, he's right. We don't do the same thing twice. We do it 1,000 times. There you go. There you go. Darren Lee shows we needed strength in left back position in the summer for cover. Jordy Den, basically he admitted defeat with City, that he's ran out of ideas. That's not going to give our players much belief, says Jordy Den. He says,
anyone in a press conference isn't going to give out what they're going to do. I mean, it's just more chit chat.
He also said, I'm Eddie in, by the way, but this was a somber press conference. Something felt very off, says Jordy. Ricky D, remember, we did concede 4 goals at home to Bournemouth with Tino and Hull playing. Just putting context into it. Yeah, we did. We did. Some would say we haven't been playing that good.
That's my job. As soon as I go off here, I'm going to do that.
Tony and the Wrench says Tino and Hull have only started about 17 games together for Newcastle. That's a worrying stat. And there you go. Jordy, then last but not least, do we have to go back to the presser, or as it should be called, the depressor. There you go. So
at the moment, it is the depressor. So
there you go, man. There you go. Listen, we had a lovely show. It's been good. We'll have to see what happens with Eddie Howe, of course. And I mean, other than that, everything is words. That the ultimate decider will be tomorrow, which you can join us, by the way, an hour before kickoff here on NUFC Talk live with the match coverage of Newcastle United versus Manchester City at St. James's Park. The instant match reaction as well. And you know those get very, very heated at times. So there you go. Join us for that one right after full time for that. So there you go, ladies and gents. Thank you very much to all the support. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Away the lads.
Away the lads.
Lasses and bands.